Baker, who is our gala sponsor. Like Patrick is saying, there's kids that go to school now that don't even get the history. I didn't get it. And it's important that we preserve this profession, and I'm going to really hit that hard tomorrow. But I wanted to align myself with the colleges that support chiropractic. I'm sick of people going to schools that suck, because you're going to schools, you're getting a suck education, but that's the same schools that are going to destroy this profession within. I'm so excited to align with Life University and Dr. Guy Riekemen. Give it up for Dr. Guy Riekemen!
Thank you. Thank you. Let's see if you feel like that at the end. We were talking off stage. I'm going to start a little off script. Patrick was talking about our history, and Doc Hubbard said, when did you first get connected to that? And I said, I was born into a chiropractic family. My father was a 1947 grad. They were fighting for licensure rights in New Mexico. I was a kid, I didn't know. Two of them, their offices were firebombed, windows blown right out the front of the building. The other two, they came in and doused their files with gasoline and lit their files on fire. And I was looking at those pictures when Billy was up playing. I lived through most of those. I was in those walks and those marches. So we're going to go old school a little bit today. And by the way, Billy didn't ask me to sing because he found out I'm the only guy that ever got kicked out of a Southern Baptist choir, right, for bad. Anyway, 1972, January 30th, in Derry, Ireland, the Irish Republican Army was carrying on a peaceful protest in what they call the Bogside, which is their home. It's an area of about 10 square blocks, and the Bogside is a kind of a park, a bowl of ground in the middle of Derry, Ireland. And of course, they were fighting because the British, when Ireland gained independence, kept 6 counties, and these 6 counties wanted to become part of Ireland, and they had to fight the British to be able to do it. And on January 30th, in this peaceful protest, the British soldiers who were positioned up around the edge of this bowl, like fish in a pond, started shooting at these peaceful protesters. 13 of them died that day on Bloody Sunday. One of them was a guy who was not part of the protest. He was on the side watching this go on, and when they started shooting and he saw children being shot, like Anne McGliven, a 14-year-old girl who was the 100th victim of that struggle, he put his hands up to indicate he didn't have a weapon to the British soldiers, and he went into the mix to grab some of these children who had been shot and pull them out of harm's way. And when he put his hands up and walked in, they shot him through the chest and he died instantaneously. His nephew was a kid by the name of Richard Moore, 11 years old at the time. Richard was walking to school a couple of weeks later with a mate, and a British soldier by the name of Charles picked him off with a rubber bullet from 200 yards, hit him right between the eyes and blinded him for life. Richard's older brothers swore vengeance on these people because it had been decade after decade, generation after generation of hate and retribution and anger and killing, and they swore vengeance on the British soldiers. And Richard Moore's mother, genius that she was, said, you know what, none of it will bring his eyesight back, and she decided right then that she was going to raise those kids in an environment of compassion and forgiveness and reconciliation. And she raised Richard that way. And 33 years later, Richard met the British soldier who shot him, who to this day has never expressed any remorse whatsoever for having done what he did. And Richard forgave him publicly. And then had an organization called Children in the Crossfire, in which they go into war-torn, poverty-laden areas where there's been this generational anger and hate and war, and they teach people, parents specifically to start with, how to raise their children differently. And we were over in Ireland. I've had 2 private audiences with the Dalai Lama. One that rocked my world, where we sat down in Atlanta, Georgia, in between a lecture he was giving to 6,000 people. And we talked to him about the values at Life University and chiropractic and lasting purpose. And I invited him to come to the college, which he agreed to do and was supposed to be there last October, but wound up canceling all of his America appearances.